panel, you talked about several interesting things, leaving us a beautiful video
Sorry,
about
can
the national
exit
team.
for the presentation screen.
Now, let's focus on the presentation, the next panel, the esports talents, the future of scouting. This represents a fundamental topic. But what are the specific skills for these type of players, and what are the critical issues from a legal point of view? Is this part of the business model? We will have Helen Thibault, lawyer, Fortunucci and Partners, Flo Gutierrez, CMO Vitality, Ryan Brenner, Director for Fine Insights and Innovation, Fan Campus, and the moderator will be Amira Jar, co-founder for Makers.
Okay.
Hello, thank you for the presentation and thank you for the invite to Esports Summit in this online edition. Thank you.
Hi.
Okay, we are everyone here. As the presentation, we have Helen Thibault from Connection Partners. Thank you for joining us, and Ryan Brenner from Compass, and Flo Gutierrez, Chiquito.
Hello.
So thank you everyone to be there. So the talk today is about the scouting inside the esports. So what are the future of scouting and how this important part that in a normal sport is a complete market could be bigger and bigger in the esports sector. The first part of this talk I think is important to be involved about what are the scouting, how the people does it before the new era of esports, and what are the evolution. What is the evolution of the scouting program? So that's why we have today with us Mr. Flo Gutierrez. That later I want to ask you some important question about this.
Sure.
Because he is really amazing what he has done and how you managed to become one of the best European teams and not worldwide teams in different games. So what we have now is the chance to talk about what the scouting is, because the scouting is one of the important parameters that gives importance to an activity. Like you have to select not only the good player, the best player. You have to select someone who can bring your image, so your team image, and give the right communication you want to give to his community, to the community of the game, and to the esports sector. So the scouting, tell me if I'm wrong, is one of the important part for a team for create a good way to involve the people to follow the esports and be fan of your team and fan of the players too.
It is, yeah. Right. I mean, scouting is key. I'll let you finish, and I
no. Let's go. No. I'm happy if you.
No, it's. I mean, in a field like the esports team field, like any kind of other sports team existing out there, scouting is key for success, because we all search long-term success and not the immediate one. And let's say like this, like with a good scouting strategy, you ensure your brand and your team to be present. Quite interesting, which is the personality and the audience, the impact of the players or the talents we may bring within a team of players. And something I want to make clear is that first and foremost, we bring a player because of his talent as a player, what he's able to do. And actually, I even like better to work with younger, not yet established talents, like people that are quite unknown, because this is real scouting. This is the person that you will find. You will find this person like in a very weird ladder, or you will find it in a kind of crazy lands. And basically the way we worked with around, for instance, Jizuke was the Italian player who spent a couple of years with us in the League of Legends team. We made a big bet on him and on his colleagues. It was just not only him; it was like the whole Giants roster, like part of the Giants roster in Spain, that we decided to acquire to work on a kind of long-term run and really like how can this guy achieve. And very quickly we realized that on stage he was super enthusiastic, super like appealing, very having fun, he appeared as to ourselves like as really like not only a very good player, but also someone whose image could really benefit us in Italy. And that's how we worked with him, and we really tried our best to establish him as the first a good player and a decent player, which is still today, and then like one of the best players for Italy, because it's what he is in his back of his mind and heart, and that's what important for us.
Yeah. So you just move on the final part of the panel, because I know. No, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I'm happy about
Fast forward.
Yes, but I know
10 minutes panel, the shortest one.
Let's go. Okay, the next one. It's important to how the people doesn't understand the importance of this coding program and the importance of a lot of information that you need to find of that player before to seeing him to represent you. And is in the first part of the esports. So when I call it how it was, for example, in the moments where you don't know anything about the game, the sector, the players, the coach, the managers, all the figures that create the ecosystem of a team, you have to understand the people just with a short talk. And is something a gamble to pick the right one, in particular for the gamers, more than all. And for example, the example you done with Jitsuge is more gamble than other games, because it's not a one-to-one, so you don't have to pick one player, and the attitude is not a problem at all. If you just have to manage him and on social media and how he represents brands, but in a team game, so you have to be the behavior he has. But before that, I want to talk about the scouting, how it was before that crucial moment. That for Jizuke is one for Italy, for example, is one of the cut from the new start of the scouting program over there. So before, tell me if I'm wrong, you have to look results of tournaments, online tournaments,
Yes.
and you have only that data. You can understand if someone is good. Yes, it's possible. You have to find a way to see the matches. You don't have play-by-play data. You have to check the results, analyze performance, but only write the results. So see how he managed to reach the final, who he beat, who was able to win against. And the big problem was find the right contact. There is no social media. There was no social media. There was no any way to contact them. So you have to make really a good tour to understand his real name, because you have normally just nickname, and you spend hours, more than hours, sometimes weeks, for find the right contact, because there are a lot of fake, a lot of multiplied nickname. Just now we have underscore, the O, the zero. So we use different kind of nickname. So for example, El Chiquito, I looking for it for Twitch channels. There are different. One is underscore, one is zero. They are not the good one. So
No. You can find a couple of ones, but that's not me. I'm not on Twitch yet. You're right. It's the core of everything. You need a good network to scout properly the talents, and you also use like kind of different. I mean, the way we work, and without giving all the secrets, but the way we work in Vitality, and I used to work also before within Red Bull, is just to also recoup the different information that you get. One person can come to you and say, "Hey, this guy is the best one for the job," and you're like, "I trust you. maybe he is, but he's the right one for the job I really want to. I mean, will he fit with the team? Will he do the other thing perfectly? So suddenly you have maybe 2 to 3 to 4 voices coming to you and saying, hey, this guy is the one for that. You should go for it. And it starts happening more and more in esports because the scene starts to be a bit more grown up. I played a lot of football for us in Europe, and as a kid, I mean, whenever you start playing for good clubs and good brands, like people start watching you and start, they go to the more remote games out there to find the next talent. And Real Madrid and Barcelona and other clubs have found their way there, where they find really the younger talent and then bring them on board. It's seen as something normal in sports. In esports, it's still very weird to go and dig for a 12, 13, 14 years old talent sometimes and say, I will have a look on you. And it's something we care a lot within Vitality and something we really want to develop within the next years. And actually, it works super well for us in Counter-Strike that way, because we have three players actually that are less than 20 years old, that are very young. One is still having his studies, and they are all pro within our team. One of them is the best player in the world, is Zaiwu, who just won IEM yesterday. So we have, the more the network of people, the more the connections, and the more also your project is appealing to them, the easier it would be for you to scout and find the right talent for your team.
Yeah, but there's another thing is really hard to. It's not that now could happen just for the youngest talent, as you mentioned it now. Are two parts. The first part is the negotiation part. So you have to talk to people that you are not professional yet. Mm-hmm. They just heard something about the professionalism and make them dreams. They just think everything is easy and they just have to play. Don't have to do a lot of stuff. They don't need to remember to use the social media, go for photo shooting, remember to use the right tags, and they thank you to the sponsor in the right moment, in the right place. So the negotiation part is really, before it was really hard because you have to explain everything at the start. And you have to remember him all day long, all the moments you have to talk with him. And there are no legal figures. So how it was is something really hard to use. Because you can't, I don't have a company like makers like Vitality and like Ninjas in Pyjamas that I want to say something to Jonas Gunderson. He was not able to come there, COVID cause, and I wish him the best. I just want to say hello because he said he will follow us on the live summit and the Esports summit. The problem over there was you could have a good lawyer. You are all prepared, and sometimes you have to talk with youngest people and their parents or a lawyer friends that not involved in the bigger part of the esports sector. So the image rights, commercial rights. And it would be really hard at the start to find the right figure, the right player, the right face, the right contact, start the negotiation, and have a problem on the contract. On the contract. So I want just to take the first minutes to let people understand how was until I think 7 years ago, 6 years ago, for the esports sector, and a lot of people over there comes from sports side, football side, like you said. So football is really normal to know how the scouts work. There are plenty of information. There are plenty of websites. There are a lot of things to see and what you can and what will be the right person. And there are a lot of help for the players to understand what they have to do and for the company to manage them. So how we said a common word, the evolution of scouting is, for example, for the results, you don't have to rush to see the last results of 3-4 tournaments and understand how they manage to play in the month, all the time by time of his title. You can check for play by play moments. You can check how he perform and how he is problem too. The best part, you can check and understand if you can help him with a coach and analyst to improve, because maybe he always lose just for little things, like on Counter Strike happens, like in League of Legends, Dota also happens too. And so you can analyze the in-game performance and the behavior. Sometimes, long time ago, there was a lot of video of people raging in tournaments. Go outside of the stadium. So these things you can't do because they don't know really well the contract they sign. They didn't understand the importance of brand they have on the jersey and they represent. So you can check everything and you can prevent them to do that. You can help also with mental coaches, right?
Yes, absolutely. That's what you need to give them as support. I mean, they all need. It's I think the old age of just a player playing in his bedroom and becoming the best player in the world is still something that can be achieved. But the way we support the teams is obviously with the classic package of social media and all that stuff. But you mentioned before, like a good lawyer, good advice, and how they should also manage their own money. This is something we start offering also within Vitality, like how you manage your income, how we should invest it, because they will make a lot of money within a short amount of time, and it's more than necessary for them to not burn it completely. And that's a side thing that we offer them. The one dedicated to competition is definitely the physical coach, mental coach. We have a dedicated facility in Stade de France near Paris that is 100% made for that, and that's where also our team yesterday competed and won. They were surrounded by all the coaches that are with them, and you have now we reached the level where we have more staff than players, where we have like 6 dedicated people for 6 players, so it's equal now, which is nice. But it's still like, you double the salary. It's kind of crazy bet, but now when you see that coming out and paying out, it's very, very satisfying, I would say.
And for example, in the last year, with the advent of social media and the importance of social media of the players, and the chance you can find a YouTuber or a Twitcher, so a streamer, so a player able to do a different kind of communication around him. Do you find more easy to find the right contact before, like was in 10 years ago?
I think finding the contact of a player is still something, as you mentioned before, there are a lot of fakes and people will make you believe they are this guy and not the other one, which is always a bit like tricky. But we make sure that obviously, like today with all the access to social media and stuff, it's easier. Let's face it. Still, it's something to be good. I don't want to quote any name out there, but I knew a lot of good players that were world champion of their couch, like playing home. They were super at ease and they were really, really good, and they could destroy anyone. But the moment you brought these guys to a competition, nothing coming out of these guys. And it's something where scouting is great to find the talent and to identify who it can be. Then you maybe find 2, 3, 4 guys or girls or whatever players, and then you bring these people, you try them, you test them, and you can still be sometimes disappointed to see someone on stage completely collapsing because they're not used to that and whatever. So finding a contact nowadays easy, making sure that this person is the right one for your project a bit harder, and then ensuring that this is the right thing you need for the next 2-3 years. It's also tough. And one last thing I want to say about scouting is that we are still in a world in esports where an established talent is more hunted than a potential one, because first the bet is less risky, right? If you sign Perks or Reckless, well, you know what will come out of it in League of Legends. You know that these guys, they are really, really strong. They will bring success to your project, to your team. And it's also something that it's very psychology driven, where you need immediate results. And signing these guys, you will get immediate results. The next split, you're sure that you will win something. It's if it doesn't happen, it's not a good performance. Where we make a kind of different bet, and that's not really the typical esports bet, which is I don't care if I don't win this year. I want to win in 2-3 years. And that's, trust me, when you go with that kind of mindset towards investor or partners, it's a tough one to defend, because they're all asking why, why you don't do that. So yeah, it's very it's kind of a tough one, but it's the one we stand for, and we are really together with the whole squad within Vitality. I really believe that it's definitely the future to count on talents and be sure to sign them on multi-year deals and win a lot of competition with it.
I think this is one of the best approach you can have, and we just, for example, in Megas, we just try it and move in different level on the same game. So, what happens for the normal sport, where you start to create school for little child, and after you can, we have in esports something we call academy. Something like with the youngest or the newest player, the unknown. So you give him the chance to achieve the top, trying and to express their plays and how they live the professional way. So before he's in a real contract, before he's in a professional contract. With someone you have someone can represent you the right way, and you can teach them. It's like in football, the same things. The difference is it's not that easy to work with them. So the fact you're talking about the facility you have is a good point for and works with them and teach them really. But on the other part, is not that easy to have a lot of people from different countries come. So maybe you can do like classes. We are announcing something like this in Vegas, and we will share soon. I'm happy to understand the same idea we have.
Yeah, it's something we have right now. We run this for younger players. From 12 to 17, we call the Vitality School, and it's more like it's still a very can be seen as a kind of very basic introduction to games, where you come and you get yourself you want to become better, so you get a chance to really improve yourself within the game on Fortnite, CS:GO, or others. That's one thing, but then we want to use that also for talent development. But again, it's very tough to convince not really the kid, but the parents most of the times, or the agent, that there is a potential here, and you can definitely become a pro and whatever. It's very it's very tough one. And actually, the last example I want to mention here is still on CS:GO with one of a player called Mizuta. He's 17 years old, and we found him. We wanted to work with him, to have him joining our roster of players, and then we had to talk with his dad because he didn't have any kind of agent or whatever. And then while talking to his dad was like, "Hey, my kid is good. My kid knows how to play games. Like, my kid can make that kind of money." It really, like, he just learned who his kid was, because we came and made an approach to him, and he was just like, "Yeah, I know he plays this game a lot, and I see he likes it, and sometimes he plays late, but never show any kind of interest, not because he didn't want to, just because he was not aware of the impact of his kid on the scene, where he was just ruining the Faceit League." And now, like, once we just opened his eyes, he was like, "Yeah, okay, I understand now," and he's fully supportive. But it's even your closest people can sometimes just be surprised. So we want to be sure that from 12 upwards they have a chance to show what they can do. But it's very tough for even parents to allow that sometimes.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problem, and that's why it's important to have an awareness of the esports sector. So also the parents can understand easily what you are talking about. But the best part is, at the moment, a lot of players are coming up with a tourney, the creator behind them. Vegas start with FIFA, and the fact is so similar is a simulation of the normal football. So there are a lot of attorney. So we have, for example, the Lucci with the WCAA. is moving that way. Is moving on sector for esports at the moment, and we see no contract with them for that because there are a lot of clubs, football clubs. They are moving in sports with FIFA and as so they are interested to find the right way, the right person. And for example, on that kind of part, for the moment where you have to start a negotiation with family, or the best part um, with a lawyer, I want to ask you, Ellen, um, how how it works, how are players' contract regulated under the Italian law? Because this talk is more for the Italian crowd, and I want to ask directly this to Helen because it's really important for us to understand how they are regulated for by the Italian law, the contract for the players.
Hi, Amir. Thank you very much. Really thrilled to be here. As maybe some of you already know, in Italy we don't have any specific esports regulation at the moment. This means that players' contracts are usually shaped as independent contractors agreements, services agreements, which are stipulated between the team and the player. So, for this reason, it's obviously very important not only to be very clear and transparent regarding the contents of the agreement, also considering that we're often talking about young players, sometimes minors, but it's also very important to regulate all aspects of the relationship between the team and the player. That means not only the competitive activities and what will be required from the player from that point of view, but also, and maybe in perspective mostly, I would say, commercial and promotional rights related to the player, not only as a single player, but also as a team members. So yes, that's what I would say in a very synthetic way regarding players' contract in the esports in Italy. But I mean,
So we have to work on that on this maybe a little bit.
Yes. I'm sure this is actually, yes. Obviously, this regards Italian law, but I think I know that in France, for example, esports regulation is much more structured, and there are specific laws regarding contracts and contents of the esports players' contract. But I mean, it's always. I think that, and this is a little what Florent was saying before. I think it's essential when you are talking with young people and parents of these young kids to be really transparent about what you are asking for, and what are the potentialities also for their kids, also in terms of revenues.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And talking about that, before we mentioned the part of the image rights. So when you have to talk with a parent of the youngest player, for example, for a flow, the one you mentioned before, you have to start to talk about the image rights of the players, and the image rights happens to us, and you manage that about the players. They are minor, so 16 years old, 17 years old. How does image rights works in Italy?
So if you are talking with a minor, you will in any event need the agreement to be stipulated with the parents if they are below 14 years old of age. This is the first point. Second point, regarding more generally image rights in the esports. Well, I would turn back to what you were saying before, that esports is looking a lot to sports and to football in particular. And in the absence of any specific regulation regarding esports in Italy, let's say that we are moving on the guidelines which are designed for football. So, for example, regarding image rights, there is a distinction between what is the image right of the single player and what is the image right of the team. In esports, things are going on the same way as football, meaning that when the image represents at least 4 players, then it is considered to be, in general practice, as team image and not individual image. But as we are talking of esports, and as there is no regulation, this is something which needs to be specified in the contract. But this is what the practice is going to now. That there is this team image which has a value and which needs to be monetized by the company. And there is this single individual image right of the player, which at the moment, considering that the esports market in Italy is not that mature for the moment, is often managed by the team itself, but it is managed on behalf of the player. And it is used, let's say, as an asset which can be combined to the assets of the team and be sold to sponsors.
Okay. So you have to. It's really mandatory to have someone who help you. So the lawyer part for a company, a team, it's mandatory to have. There are a lot of aspects to see. Talking about image rights, I want to talk about only the word image. So I want to do some question to someone who really know how to work on the image of clubs. Normally, the sports part of clubs. So I would like to talk with Ryan Brennan of Encompass. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to ask you something about really directly. So, how do you see the esports differing from conventional sports when it comes to the parts of the fun engagement and how to work of the image of it?
Yeah, I mean, in conventional sports throughout the years, I mean, it's always been about engaging your fans. It's so important for any team, any organization to have an engaged fan base. When you have an engaged fan base, there's going to be more revenue driving to your team. So more partners want to get involved, more merchandise, more ticket sales, everything, benefits from a high engagement level. In conventional sports, the main focus has always been in stadium. And that's always been their where they spent most of their energy. Now, lately, over the years, it's starting to, they're starting to go more digital. They're starting to realize the importance of their social media channels. But it's honestly amazing how far behind conventional sports have been when it comes to engaging their fans digitally. And that's where I think with esports, there's a huge advantage. Because you guys are already digital. Esports is already digital. And so engaging your fans is going to be that much easier. But it's still important, and it's still, some teams or organizations, they don't realize the importance of it. So, but yeah, I mean, esports can see what traditional sports has done and learn from that. And honestly, like this pandemic has pushed the need to go digital for all sports, conventional and esports. You're not able to engage fans as much in stadium or at venues, and that need to go digital is even more important now.
Okay, yeah, I think is one of one of the key that's moving a lot of clubs also in esports, different simulation games. So but I want to know if you can show me an example of how you can involve fans, for example, in the scouting process.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen.
Really interesting to. I know your platform can perform something important on this. Okay, thank you. Nice.
Can you see it?
Yeah, perfectly.
All right, perfect. So like I said, it's important to have fan engagement, and so engaging your fans in the scouting process can be really beneficial to teams. So this is a Makers fan zone site. It is not live yet, but it should be live soon to the public. It will be embedded into the Makers website. But the idea for this site is to build a fan zone where fans can come in and engage in different products. So whether that's winning a jersey or then helping the team pick a new player. So, this is where we could get innovative. And that's kind of been always my focus here at Fan Compass is how can we take what we've done traditionally and innovate and change. And so, as a fan, you could come onto this page, you see all these different things that you can enter, like winning a jersey. But then in terms of the scouting, if you go down here, you can actually engage your fans in the scouting process where you're allowing your fans to maybe pick a team member. So this could, when you get a fan involved in this process, they're going to be more involved in your team. They're going to be more involved in every aspect of the team, which is then going to drive, additional revenue and just really benefit the team when it comes to partners, when it comes to streaming, everything. So having the fan, this shows just images, but you could have highlight videos of these players where fans could come in and watch highlight videos and actually kind of cast their own vote on who they think should be a part of the team.
Nice.
By doing that, you get the fan involved, and as we know, like that there's a huge benefit for the team in that aspect.
I think this is amazing because you can help not only the growth of the fund, but also the how they can share their passion and be part of the decision. Nice.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So when you're a part of that decision, you're more invested in the future.
Yeah.
And this is just one example. I want to show you one more example down here. But I like what Florence said. It's not about finding the established talent. It's about finding that new talent. Sometimes it's not about winning now. It's about winning 3 years from now. And that's where you could use this platform to not only, like I said, engage your fans, but allow fans to come in and upload their own highlight videos to be a part of the scouting process. So, like you said, you guys, it's difficulty in the scouting process to actually get in contact with people that you may be scouting. And so this would allow you, you go through a registration process, and then a fan could upload their own highlight videos of themselves to actually, try to be scouted. So again, like this is kind of a destination for your fans to go to, and they'd see all these different, products, and then you could also use it as a scouting tool.
Also, this one is amazing. Is a chance to the people to be part of the club they are cheering still. So, thank you. Thank you, Ryan. It's amazing. It's amazing, really. I'm sure they could be the next part, the next way to move the fan engagement, not only on the fun part or the fun of the top players, but also to involve the one who want to. For example, inside Megas now, I am the CTO but before that, I was the one who had to choose the player. I start to create the scouting idea of what I have to look, how I have to choose the player. I have to move for find the right one and to help him to be part of something bigger and bigger and bigger. This part you show me is are really one of the what I call it the re-evolution of what we are looking what is now our talk, because we're starting with what was it, what was the scouting on esports, when we have the chance to talk with Flo about how they managed to pick the biggest different top players on someone from Italy like Jitsuke, who became the main name for us for Italy on League of Legends, and someone who moved from a market is not well known because we was a lot of year behind on the esports sector on League of Legends in Italy, and how they manage on Counter Strike to move on the youngest, not only on the established name. So they do us coding in a particular way. But you show me something on Phone Compass, and I want to show to the crowd something Megas works, and I'm in charge of, and for me is something really amazing to do, and I want to share with you now because for me
Yeah.
is what I said, what I call it, the re-evolution, because we move from the idea of scouting of how it was, and I have a lot of problems before I just move like this. I just uh, understand how it was. I have all that problems we talked before, because I personally have to solve it time by time, to choose the right player by results, to start to talk with them, and I'm not only looking for good players, but sometimes I have to go to move on the talent. So someone is able to do a lot of stuff on social media too, and to start a negotiation with, but not directly. Now is something like I have to talk to mediator, procurator. I have to talk to some different um, um, figure of esports, and move on the lawyer. So I'm not I'm not the one who have to write the contracts. I have my lawyer, but and I have to talk with their lawyer, and this is one the project we want to launch on scouting, for example, because for me is a new way, a new concept of how we do, how makers do the scouting process. That's why I want to give this hint for you, because an invite to talk about this uh, on the panel maybe later. So eScout, we are launching eScout. eScout is a platform, okay, that provides visibility of players and in their gaming and social skills to the crowd. It's not only to the way they can show how they are good, as the data they're talking. So we give the players the chance to give to all the esports sector a way to find them. So the platform will perform, as I said over there, a live value of the player in base of his palmarès. So I win where he participates, the result he has, and the social reach. Uh, this is really important for a company like Megas that need to grow up on the social, for example, and to all the one who want to start in a perfect match of target they want to enter in contact. For the pro players, so is something like we will give the chance to show their in-game and social skills. But other part for the teams, for us, is the way to enter in contact with the right. So the fact to I don't know where I can find them. If it could be also a streamer that is not good to give the right email, or as it happens to me a lot of time, they don't read the email, so they write a contact and they don't use it because they are not. they are someone who do something with passion, but they're not professional. So we can give them this for find a way to use properly easy mage and to enter in content, to analyze and to analyze all the players, how they reach the top, and see how they perform inside the games and outside games. For this image, for the procurator, from someone I'm talking for all the time, I'm looking for a player on FIFA. 3 years before, every 2 players on 10, I have to talk to a procurator. Now, in the last year, every player has a procurator. Or I have to move on a 16 years old, but also over there now is 2 on 10. So we reach the same things. For example, I was talking to 16 years old players of Switzerland 9 months ago. He has a procurator because they know he's really good. They are moving on faster, and this is the best way to find the right players to represent. And also, it's good for have a good way to have updated palmarès, updated data, social data, and results data, and you don't have to move in different way and contact different people to have all time updated data to show to your to the people interested in your players. For the teams is a way to help them on team management part. So you can give data of the results of the in-game moments of what happens in tournaments. So it's in-game data for coach, analyst, mental coaches too, and help them in the social interaction of what they have to point to. I do a lot of tests on social and Twitch too, and I saw what are really interested. For example, for one of our player Principe, I saw the people is completely go mad when he performed some kind of games with some type of players and squad, and so you can reach this moment. You have all the data for analysis and improve this all in tournaments and also on the trends on social media. And for the analyst, as I said before, you don't have to be an analyst inside the team. You can be an analyst for example, for like someone who is invited to talk and streaming and hosting a tournaments. And you have all the data you need about the players and also the historical data of what he does in the last tournaments and all the stuff. I know a lot of the biggest one we know, well-known analysts have everything in mind and every set before, but there's a lot of plenty of guys they are interested to enter in the esports sector, and they need to find all the information, and over there it's easy to do. So uh, this is eScout.gg, and we will be launched in the first in Q1 of 2021. And over there is the website if you want to go to check it for have more information. EScout.gg is over there for everyone, and that's all. That's for me is really amazing to talk on this with you, especially for with all of you, because I know you are inside this market, and I wish this part could be the new frontier of scouting, of scouting. And I'm and I want to go to you, Flo, directly. Um,
What do you want
think,
from me?
Thinking about all the things you have to do inside the market to find the good players, and a plenty of email of people that contact you because I'm the new Fortnite champion. I want this, and this, and you have to find the data and see if it's true, who is him, what is done. Do you think that something like this is cool or can help the process?
I think the good thing about that is yes, definitely it's a good idea, and it's probably mostly needed, especially to gather all the information you search on someone whenever you identify this person. It can also be a way to find this person if you don't know yet who it is. but I still believe that the way this will develop is closer to the way sports has been working. We are in French, it's something like we don't reinvent the wheel. Once you invented it, you just use it and that's it. And here, I think the way scouting is made within the classic sports is the way we would do that digitally, but we'll do it the same way. So probably through this kind of platform where you identify the person. But then what we all have to expect, sadly, or just I won't say sadly because I think it's a great indicator for the scene, is saying that there will be more agents, more procreators, more people between you and the player. This person will get more and more professional and younger, even younger and even more professional than we ever been. So we just have to accept that. I have a friend of mine who's a football player agent, and he even told me about like how business work within agents, football agent players, like just giving a phone number to someone is require a percentage of money back, and if it's then an email with a recommendation to go and play for this team, then it's another percentage. So I think this will come tomorrow more and more to have. You will find the player, great. And then you will find the agent, and you will be like, okay, let's talk business, and it's and sometimes what's even more funny that and because it happened to us, sometimes you find the player, perfect, bring the player on board, even better, and then suddenly the player gets an agent, and you're like, oh, well, whatever. Now we have another, now you get the same agent as the other players that you have in the team. You're like, okay, it's a syndicate. It's not even a team anymore, But I mean,
to know everything before.
where I think the kind of platform you're offering is very valuable is for everyone who is not on the radar. I deeply believe that we only see today. I will throw a random percentage in there, but really, like, let's say 15 to 20% of the top esports player out there. I'm sure that there are a lot of countries, a lot of regions where people don't get access to a way to show that they are the best one. When I was with Red Bull, we tried to, and we established tournament in every kind of country, like offsite tournaments, in-person tournaments, because a lot of people don't have internet, they cannot compete, or they don't have, the connection is not good enough for them to participate in online tournaments. But you can find jewels and pure diamonds in even remote regions within one country, one European country. So that's where I think it will be very useful for these kind of profiles, and that's where also I see for me a bright future, like identifying all these persons and making them shine within a great platform and great teams.
Yeah, you say what I'm looking for. You completely go.
I'm a hunter. Yeah,
man. I'm happy because that happens because we I think we have the same problem when we have to find the right name, the unknown, and I wish this be really
yes.
I think we have to close, but I want to just do the last part, the last question to Fan Compass, to Ryan, because I think is the important part of scouting. Yeah, or the team. Yes, it's important, but what is the importance of fan engagement, and how is important to have players they are happy to play for like a fun to become a player for a team.
No, I mean, I kind of, like I said before, the importance of fan engagement is beneficial to the team and to your fans. With more engagement means you're going to get more partners involved, which means more revenue for the team, more money you can help to develop players as well, more money you can pay the players. So really, it just benefits everybody. But the key in esports is getting partners involved. Like, that's where a huge portion of the revenue in esports is generated from. It's like 70-80%. So with the 70 and 80% of your revenue coming from partners, the engagement has to be perfect. So it has to be high, and that's where a fan zone like Makers is going to have can be key to doing that.
Yeah, perfect. Just one part, and I'm sorry for social summit. I'm sorry, but I want to ask you, Hélène, because a lot of times she helped us, and she helped a lot of companies not only the esports side but support side. What if there is what tips can you provide regarding negotiation of players' contract?
Well, first of all, I would say first thing would be to understand where the player comes from. Is there anyone behind the player? Is there a team? Is he really free? This is the first thing that I would check as a lawyer. Once you have asserted that the player is free and that you can join your team, I would say protect your talents. Meaning that in some way within the contract you should provide for clauses which protect you from your talents going away. Meaning some kind of option regarding the renewal, some specific clause regarding transfers. What else? Maybe also some kind of first negotiation at the end of the deal. I mean, you have to find some contractual tools which allow you to keep the talents which you breed inside your team within the team.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hélène. And I want to thank you, every one of you. Thank you for being there, and thank you for Esports Summit online edition for let us talk about scouting. See you, and bye-bye.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amira Jar.